All right, so who wants to go first? Who wants to ask Vicky?
I have a question. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, go ahead, Kaitlyn. A question for Vicky?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So, Vicky, did you ever get into any M3s that went sideways for a couple days after you got into them? And if so, what did you do? Like, let's say like they remained in the criteria, but they just didn't like move. They just kind of like went sideways. Did you stay in them and wait for them to go your way, or did you get out of them?
I don't remember any sideways ones, but they either go down or they go up. So I'm either like stop out or it went well. I didn't have any situations when I went sideways.
Oh, okay. That's what happened to me a lot later. Must be bad luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question was any of the trades that went sideways. So I'm just actually writing it as well. It went sideways. Did Vicky get out? And so the answer was no, because all the trades either went up or went down. All right, just to confirm, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. All righty. Next question.
Ask James questions. But he's not there. He's the man. Yeah.
He texted him, so normally he's working at this time of the hour, and he told me he's going to be into the roundtable, so I don't know what's happening. Hopefully he'll still get in. Okay, so next question.
Yeah, I've got a question, Vicky. So how did you find trading the M3 method?
I think it's not 100%, and which is why sometimes you get it and sometimes I don't. But if we go with the trend, I think the probability is higher. And yeah, basically that's it. So if you don't, just accept that it doesn't go your way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so with the M3, always important to be in the trend. Just to confirm, is that right, Vicky?
Yeah, that's right.
For higher probability of winning. Okay, nice, thanks. And next question.
I have another one. Hello? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So when did you stop out? Like when, like for the most part, like when did you find yourself stopping out? Did you wait until it was too out, or?
Yeah, there were some serious ones where I got stopped out really bad. I traded before the news, but I didn't know that some news was coming out. So I just saw the M3, and I went ahead to enter the trade, and it went like really the other way, not the way that I wanted. And I realized it was because the news was coming out like half an hour after I traded. So yeah, I was just completely wiped out on those trades. But on like less volatile days, it's a bit slower. So I think it's more to do with the news. The news would really stop you out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you get out of the trade?
I get out on the limits or the stops. And for the limits, initially I don't really hit a lot of the limits, but for the longer time frames, you actually can wait for them to get to where your limit is. But the shorter time frames, like the 4 hourly, things happen like a lot faster. So I towards the last week of when I was trading, I put in very, very small limits so that I could hit the limit. So it's not even the Fibonacci levels. It's like maybe 5 pips, and I would just take the profit because I heard Ray mention a few times that the leader at that time, I think it was James, that he was very good at taking like small limits as his targets. So I experimented with that, and that went quite well for like a few trades.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, Vicky, just to confirm with you, so you started taking profits within, even before hitting either the supply or demand, is that right? Or
Yeah.
okay. Alrighty, next question.
I have a question, another question. What percentage of your account did you put on your trades? Was it like always the same, or did you change it when it was going with the trend, or?
It's always the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just curious, but like, what was it? What percentage do you put on each trade?
Like 3 lots to 5 lots. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did you take them off like one at a time? Or?
Yeah, one at a time. Yeah, I followed the limit 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, next question. You guys should be asking questions if I were you. Alrighty, question that no one has asked, but someone probably asked actually in the past. What were the time frames used when you were trading, Vicky?
It's the H4, H8, and the daily.
How often do you look at your trades? Do you only look at them when the candle changes, or do you kind of like babysit them, or?
Yeah, I tend to look at them at close to when the candle changes. So like 5 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.
But unless I have a trailing stop. If I have a trailing stop, I tend to look at them more often.
Mhm.
Okay. So Vicky, why did you use 4 hours, 8 hours in the daily chart? Why didn't you use 1 hour, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, even for that matter?
I think one is that I don't want to be looking at the charts all the time. And the second point is that on the shorter time frames, you don't get a lot of pips. So, I mean, I can't even pay for the spreads with that amount of turnover. So it's no point looking at them.
Okay.
Did you have more success with one pair versus another?
No, I don't think there's any particular pair that I had more success with.
Okay, good, nice.
Okay, now I see the time frames were 4, 8 hours. About what time of the day were those? Were they before 5 o'clock or after 5 o'clock?
Okay, I'm actually in Malaysia, so my time is kind of different from your time. So I'm looking at my time in the daytime, which is the more active times over here would be the 5 o'clock, which is when London opens, and to about 9 o'clock when the US opens. And then I would not be around because I'd be sleeping, and then it goes to the next day.
Okay. Nice.
I have another question. When you're looking at an M3, which trend did you find more useful? Like, you know how sometimes like there's an overall trend, but there's also like a kind of temporary trend that's going the opposite way. Like, which trend?
Like the immediate trend, is it?
Yeah. So like, which one did you use, or did you like put more importance on, or did you find it worked better?
It would be the longer term trend, not the immediate trend. Because sometimes the immediate trend, it's like a correction and then it goes back down again. So those ones, I don't have a lot of confidence in those.
Oh, okay, cool.
The trades you had more confidence in, did they end up winning, or was your confidence not a factor when it came to dollars and cents? I asked that question right.
Yeah, I didn't get what you mean. I think the trades where I made the most is trades which it is with the trend, firstly. And secondly, because it's with the trend, as it goes down, I have the confidence to actually trail the last lot. And I really trail it. So I really maximize the trailing. And that's how I got like quite a bit of profit from trailing. So it's like based on a few trades which I maxed out the trailing. And I think that's how I build up the profit. Whereas the rest was like just small profits or losses here and there. But if you find one which is going your way and you can max out your trailing, you maximize the trailing stop, you can actually build up quite a bit of profit from there.
So does that mean you made more money by shorting?
Yeah. At that point in time, yeah, there were some short trades which I maxed out quite a lot. But I think it's like if you get a good long trade, you can probably do the same thing.
Okay, thanks.
That's actually a very good point, because after seeing the trades of the others as well, when you mentioned you mainly had small losses but bigger wins, so were those small losses based on intuitive type where you got out before even hitting the 2 out or the 2 in, depending on the short or long position, or did you put in a tight stop? So what strategy did you use based on that, Vicky?
I think I had some big losses as well. Okay. The big losses was because of greed, I think. So I did the 3 lots. So limit 1 and 2 got hit. And then I didn't put a limit 3 because I thought, okay, it is going to go my way. And if I come back like several hours later, then I'll decide at what point I would take profit on those. But like several hours later when I come back, I realized that the trade actually went against me and it just hit my stop. And I made like pretty big losses on those as well. So that was greed, I guess. I should have like put a limit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How about I know there was a few trades that were also big profits. So for the big profits, were they based after you realizing then there was some form of greed, and then were the big profits were still based on not putting the limit order in, or you change your game plan from there?
No, the big profits was because I really managed them. I put a trailing stop. So after I made profit on limit 1 and 2, I did a trailing stop. And I actually keep a close watch on it. So I trail it and move the stop every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I could max out the profit. But on those where I make a big losses, I didn't put a limit. So it was just very careless, and it was greed. And because I didn't put a limit, I didn't even get any small profit out of those. And I was just, stop out.
Okay.
And I didn't manage to trade, yeah.
And so, but if you stuck to your plan, you're being meticulous, then you would have avoided these type of scenarios then?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Any further questions?
What are some other things you wish you would have done or could have done?
Nice question.
I think I could have tried the small profit positions more, but I didn't have time to anyway because I was traveling. But the last week when I was trying to taking just very small profits from each position, that seems to be quite a good strategy.
When you're taking small amounts, I guess you're only risking like 2 to 5% each time, based on like maybe how much confidence you have in it. So you kind of take so how much?
The same, yeah.
How much should you take per trade? Like about? Well, I guess it depends.
Like I would take even like 4 or 5 pips.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have 3 lots and you can take like 4 or 5 pips, it adds up to quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there, straight at the T. There, Vicky. Is simply, how many times have you heard me in the past month or two that with method 3 you need to take profits along the way, and you can only take them out that part of the chunk from a moving average all the way to either a demand or supply?
Yeah, I've heard you say that a lot.
Yeah, you say that a lot.
Yeah. And you hit it basically on the spot. Like you need to take those to be consistent with method 3 is taking those profits within that segment. Very nice, excellent. Anything else? Any further questions?
So, yeah, I got one. So what did you learn from this trading experience, Vicky?
Actually, I learned a lot. I mean, all this I wouldn't have learned if I actually haven't put in that many trades, because I don't think I've traded that much in the past before. But because of this, so we were looking for trades every day. So, and as you trade, you actually learn things which you didn't know about. Like one of the things I learned was when, say, there's some news. So news could be good and bad. So if we trade before news, it's bad not knowing that the news are coming out, because it then can affect the whole trade. Your trade could just be wiped out if the news come out and it's against you. But also, if you trade, say, a little after the news come out, and say, for example, some bad news about the Aussie, and the Aussie went down. So that was what happened to me once. And I went in when I was looking for the trade. It was shortly after some bad news about the Aussie, and the Aussie was going down. And I then immediately look at all the other pairs with the Aussie in it, and just short all those pairs. And yeah, I was able to make profits on like 3 pairs just on that news alone. So I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't actually did this practical trading.
Great. And also,
Yeah.
what did you learn about yourself during this experience?
Probably to stay calm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And to be more careful and less greedy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's always after when you make a big loss and you realize that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Vicky. What was the first one that you said?
Okay, about news, the good
No.
and bad.
What did you learn about
news.
yourself?
She said to stay calm.
To be calm. To stay calm. Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, my question is, how would you improve yourself with this method in the future? If you're going to trade it again, how would you improve in it?
I think like Ray says is true practice, because like I find that because the past few weeks I have not been trading, so when I'm coming back to it now, I feel like I'm a bit out of touch. I have to like remind myself of so many things where if you had been trading regularly, it probably would, it comes just like that to you. But if you just lay off it for a period of time, you find that you have to like relearn everything all over again and be so careful about things. You feel like, okay, I'm very unsure about what I'm doing.
Okay, so practice is very important. Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, I have one more question for you. How many trades did you make?
How many trades? I have lost count actually. But you actually have to do a lot of trades. I mean, if you want to practice, you just have to keep doing it.
No, I mean,
I'm not sure how many trades, yeah.
No, how many trades did you make during the that counted towards the competition?
Probably maybe about 7 to 10 a week.
Yeah, that sounds right, because it's almost
probably,
a page to 2 pages.
Yeah.
So if it's 7 a week, 7 to 10, yeah, but that's pretty much close to 70 trades, I reckon. Oh, on top of your head, what was your win-to-lose ratio? Any chance, Vicky?
I didn't calculate that.
Okay. Did you ever use a risk-to-reward ratio, or you just simply took profits once, or you just simply put the profit targets, or you took profits there and then? So did you do such a thing, Vicky? Risk-to-reward ratio?
I entered on the trading checklist, but I do not kind of like pay much attention to that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay, anything else?
Yeah. If you gave a lot of good advice. If you could give any more advice to the new people coming into the new competition, what would it be?
I'm not sure about M2 myself too, so I would say if you see it and you try to follow the rules, it should have some degree of success. But like Ray says, not everything is 100% anyway, but if you do catch it in the right direction, you'll make a profit.
Okay, thanks. Oh, one more thing. Did you do like a ritual before you traded?
I did the ritual with the trading checklist because we have to fill out the trading checklist whenever we trade. So what I did was I always fill out the trading checklist for like during the start of day because we just have to fill out the macro area. So whenever I did a trade, I just fill out the rest of the form. So it's less cumbersome than if you have to fill everything out for every trade.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, yeah, you have to know the Forex factory. Just make sure you know when the news are coming out because that's important. Because the news could wipe you out or it could help you.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for that confirmation there, Vicky, because during the beginner class this morning we had that conversation actually about looking at the macro fundamentals. So yeah, thanks for that one. Nice. My last question for me is psychologically. I know you said you stayed calm. What processes did you do in order for you to stay calm? Did you ever micromanage the accounts or your trades at all during the process, Vicky?
I think I micromanage when I'm doing the trailing stop, but not for the other trades. Because when you're stop out, there's nothing to manage. But when you are trailing, you just want to make sure that you get as much out of that trade as possible, and it's worth the time because you know you're already making a profit.
Got it.
Yeah.
I guess what I meant micromanaging, like not following your own plan. Like, sometimes when you lose focus, you get impatient, you get some form of anxiety, and you panic. Is it, oh, I better take my profits right now and close it rather than letting it ride? Did it ever happen to you at all?
No, probably more for the losing trades. Because when you're at losses, you tend to be a bit more anxious.
Gotcha. So you manage your losses first then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Very nice. That, to be honest, is very, very rare for traders. Because normally for retail traders it's the opposite. So psychologically and emotionality, you are lowly neurotic to the T. Also, you're very well in tuned with your own psyche. Yeah, very nice. So if we could learn something from you with that, uh, what strategy or I guess advice or recommendation you would be able to give the rest of the traders in the room on how to manage your losses first, how you do the trailing stops, right? Using profit maximizing strategies. So if there's one thing you can give as a form of advice or recommendation, what would that be, Vicky? Oh, sorry. Hello. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, I think for M3, the direction of the price becomes obvious quite quickly. I mean, in my case anyway, either goes against you or it goes in your direction. So if you place your stops and your limits, just let the price get to whichever point. And if you think that you have started off like being very careful in analyzing the situation, and you think, okay, this is definitely going to go long, then just let the price move in the direction. You know, even if you have stopped out, then there's nothing much you can do about it.
So in other words, what you're trying, what I can hear from you is let the market do its thing and just and not just have confidence.
Stick with the plan, yeah.
Gotcha. Have confidence in the methodology. Okay, any other questions to Vicky? Jeff, do you have any questions? Jason? Warren? Earl?
No questions here, just listening and preparing for the M2 method.
Okay. Warren?
Well, I have one question, and I wasn't clear on the news. If you were in a trade and you saw a major red news event coming up, what made you stay in the trade versus get out of it because of the news? Were you in profit already, or did it matter if you were down a little bit or up slightly positive? How did you handle the news?
Okay, there was once when I was not paying attention to the news, and I entered like some trades because the M3 was the signal was there. And after I put the stops and the limits and stuff, and like half an hour to an hour later, the news came out, which I didn't check anyway. I didn't know that news was coming out. So news came out. I was just immediately stopped out. So I there was nothing I could do. I mean, I couldn't. Like, I was just totally ignorant that news was coming out. So that was what I was trying to say.
Right, but when you were in it, so I'm taking that your other trades, you're in them, you're moving along through them, a day or two goes by, and obviously news happens almost all the time. How did you deal with those news events as they came along after you were in a trade for some time?
Okay, the trades that I had that were longer term, where it was 1 or 2 days, was actually the daily trades, the D1s. And I think, fortunately for me, there were no news coming out on those currency pairs, because the news happened before I put in the trade. And after that, there was no news anymore on those currency pairs. So I guess I was lucky in that sense.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
And I came in late. How many trades did you place approximately in that month?
I would say about 7 to 10 a week.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
And you played the day chart?
No. It was the 4 hourly, 8 hourly, and the daily.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah. And you checked it every 4 hours?
Kind of, yeah.
Not during the night, though. Okay, I guess.
Not during the night, yeah, not during the night.
Oh, okay. And why did you do the 4 hour? Because it just gave you more opportunity, more. In hindsight, if you did it over again, would you stay with the 4 and the 8, or just go to the day?
No, I would stay with the 4, 8, and the day. The 4 hourly has actually a lot more opportunities.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you find one pair, or how did you choose your pair? Just whatever came up first? Did you look at the exotics, or were you just sticking with the majors?
The majors.
Okay. Do you have a favorite pair?
No, I don't have a favorite pair.
Okay. And one more question. When you say you stay with the exotics, how come? Just because you had your hands full, you had enough trades, or you just didn't even bother to look at the exotics?
I tried looking at them, but I realized the spreads are quite big, and I don't know if I could make enough profit to cover the spreads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right, very nice. Thank you, Vicky. All right, let's move. If there's not any more other questions to Vicky, so one more. Warren, do you have a question?
No, I guess it's just like you just basically go through each pair and see if there's opportunities. You know what you're looking for. You just go through each pair each day when you search for the opportunity.
Yeah, I just search for the H4, H8, and D1. So like there's a list, and I would just go through the list one by one on these 3 time frames.
Oh, like once a day, twice a day?
No, not once a day. A few times, because the H4, it happens a few times a day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else before we move on to Kaitlyn? Going once, twice, and done. Thank you, Vicky. Okay, there's quite a lot there. All right, let's go through with Kaitlyn. Any questions for Kaitlyn?
Okay, I'll go. So what challenges did you face with M3, Kaitlyn?
The challenge I faced with M3, I didn't initially face it actually. Like I had the first couple of trades I got in were really obvious. Like they went with the trend, like both the immediate trend and the long-term trend, and I just got in them, so it was a no-brainer, and like they worked, and I got a comfortable amount of pips and got out. But where I started kind of getting confused was when like the immediate trend and the long trend weren't necessarily compatible, and I kind of like just sort of went with the immediate trend, what the immediate trend was doing, and tried to get a few, and those were kind of like iffy. Like I wasn't, and for some reason, like if they start going sideways and I get in them, I've kind of had a lot of like, I don't know, I kind of like stay in them, but then after a couple of days it's only gone up like a couple cents or something, and then like usually it'll like take me out while I'm waiting. So maybe it's a good idea to just kind of like get out if it doesn't play after a couple of days. I think my biggest challenge right now is like just figuring out like when to get in if like the trend isn't a beautiful, perfect trend, like very obvious.
Okay, great. Which time frames did you use, Kaitlyn?
I only use the day. I use the day mostly, and the 4 hours sometimes.
Okay. Alrighty. So, if you could replicate your winning trades over and over again, how would you do that in the future? No, well, I'll say it the other way. Based on the losing trades, what were the things that you did differently compared to the winning trades then?
On the ones that I lost, let me think. On the ones that I lost, I think what happened was I just kind of started like becoming subjective and just like wishing that they would win, because I kind of like hoping that they'd win, like, oh, I'll stay in a little bit longer, and then it like went super against me, and so I think you just have to know when to get out. And maybe not trading.
Katie, what did you do that was right?
What did I do that was right? Getting in really, I don't know, you know a good trade when you see it, and when you, the good trades are just, like Vicky said, like, if it's going with the trend, it's very obvious, get in. And, you want to, like, watch the news, too. I got stopped out by the news as well. So when the news comes on, you want to watch it, and you want to, like, adjust your stop while the news is happening. The trade that I did win a lot on was just, like, it's just very obvious. Everything was perfect, so I took it. And when you have a good feeling about a trade, it's important to take it. Yeah, I just kind of, like, look for where it crosses over and it's going with the trend, and I try to get in. And my problem recently is that, like, I will get in one of those trades and, like, it won't do anything for a couple of days, and then that kind of, like, gets me kind of, like, worried, and I kind of, like, stay in them too long instead of getting out. But if you choose a good trade, then there's nothing really to worry about.
Correct, agreed. How about emotionality? What emotions, what type of emotions did you face, or challenges that you faced emotionally before trading? So how do you know when it's a good trade? How do you know when it's not a good trade? Yes, it is with the trend. So what emotions were you feeling then compared to trades that weren't in the trend?
I guess, like, the ones that didn't really work out, like, I kind of, like, was kind of nervous about them even when I got in. I wasn't really sure, like, but, like, the one that made me the most money, I was, like, 100% positive, and I was, like, really, like, excited and happy about it. So I think I need to, like, listen to my intuition a little more, because, like, if you get in and then, like, immediately you're kind of thinking, oh, like, well, I hope this works. Those ones didn't really work for me. Like, I feel like my intuition is really, really helpful. Probably.
Okay, so now for the future, when you know and you feel that it's not a good trade, what are you going to do?
I'm currently in a trade like that right now, and I think what I learned was that, like, if you have a weird feeling about it, you should probably, like, get out while you're only, like, $1 or $2 down, instead of, like, getting out, like, hoping and then getting out when you're, like, $9 down. Just, like, look and get out and look for a better one, because, like, if you find one that you feel really good about, then maybe you can put, like, a little, like, more lots on it. And I kind of wish I never really had the opportunity to trail anything. I don't know why, but, like, I didn't really get into a lot of trades because I was on vacation. But the ones that didn't work out, like, for some reason I got in and then they just went sideways. That's another thing. Don't get into an M3 if you kind of notice that the current price has been going sideways for a while. That's something I definitely learned. Like, you want to get into an M3 that is, like, going in the direction, like, for sure. If it's been kind of, like, going sideways, sort of, like, not, like, going steep in one way a lot. I don't want to get into anything like that anymore. I don't know if you know what I mean, but...
All right, so now at least now you know that as part of the future strategy is to use profit maximizing strategies.
Yeah.
Because the last one will always make you the most profit. All right, any further questions for Kaitlyn? Mike, Jason, Jeff, Warren?
How many overall trades did you make?
Actually, to tell you the truth, like, I only put in a few trades. I think I did, like, 4 trades. And the one that I felt really good about, was my big, like, winner, and then the other 3 I lost, I think.
Okay, so it was good practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mind you too, though, that Kaitlyn was on holidays for what, at least half of the competition,
Yeah.
and it still ended up basically positive.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good work, Kitty.
Thank you, Uncle Jimmy.
Okay, Jeff, Jason, Earl, Warren, any questions? And any further questions?
Yeah, what did you learn about yourself during this experience, Kate?
I think it's not like, what did I learn about myself? I learned that, it's kind of a tough one. Sorry, I'm thinking. Probably learned that it was kind of, I found myself being more subjective the longer I was in a trade. So I know to, like, watch out for that now. You really have to start thinking, like, you have to really remind yourself, I have to remind myself to be objective all the time when I'm, like, in a trade. Like, if it's not really going your way, you have to, like, read everything so objectively, and, like, you have to catch yourself being subjective and get yourself out if there are overwhelming signs that it's not working out. Because sometimes, like, I found my mind, like, tricking myself. Oh, only looking at the things that, like, verified, my idea that it was going to go in a certain way, and it, like, ignoring the other ones. And actually reading Trading in the Zone kind of, like, made me aware of a lot of the little things I was doing. So, I just kind of learned that maybe I shouldn't watch them all the time too. Just, like, maybe, like, check in when the candles about to change. I learned a lot of good stuff from Vicky, that's for sure. I'm gonna use that on my M3s in the future.
Would you use M3 in the future?
Yeah, actually, I would. I think what I would do is, I'm going to be looking for M3s, but I'm going to be only getting in M3s that are, like, going with the trend, like, very obviously, and never get in an M3 if it's been kind of going sideways. Because you know how sometimes they just kind of go sideways for, you know what I mean? Like the USD CAD right now. Yeah, the USD CAD right now, for example, and the USD Japanese yen are not ideal. Like, I like seeing it, like, go in steep up or steep down. That's gold. I would get into that, yeah.
All right. Any further questions? Wow. That's it? Going once? twice. All right, very nice. We'll definitely, I'm gonna, what do you call it? I'll hound James, so we can also ask him questions. I know he's got a lot to share because he shared a lot of stuff with me on what to do and what not to do, and they're pretty important. Okay.
Ray, I came late. One question popped up. I know Katie didn't use one, but Vicky, what did she use for a trailing stop on that? How did she trail? By how much?
Vicky?
I'll trail up to, let's say, about, it depends on the pair. So it's average of 5 to 10 pips below the price, the current price.
You mean you had like an ATR trailing stop?
No, I just used a very arbitrary one.
That's a tight stop. 5 pips below the current price. It didn't take you out like in a blip?
Not for those ones that I was doing, because it's you have to look at which pair you're doing, and for some pairs they don't have that much volatility, so you can actually stay with like 10 pips, probably not 5 pips, but 10 pips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
All right. Any further questions?
How many did you have open at any one time? How many trades? What's the most you had open and running at one time?
Maybe about 3 or 4.
3 or 4, okay.
Yeah.
And then this is a big question. What percentage of your account were you using?
The same percentage as what was allowed. What percent is that? On the checklist, is it 1% or something?
It was
anyway,
3.
I take 3 lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 3 lots. So if you had 3 trades running, you had approximately what, 3% on each one?
No. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. And you just pretty much ran it the whole time, constantly at that to the 10%, just wide open the whole time?
No, it depends. Sometimes I don't even have a trade. But it's like at times when there's opportunities, I could go up to like 3 or 4 trades at one time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, if you had a trade on, whether you had 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it was, you always were maxed out on that 10%. You pretty much had that always wide open.
Yeah, it's always 3 lots. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Leverage, so that's different.
Hello, Katie. Sorry, you couldn't hear you on that one.
Oh, sorry. But does Vicky have different leverage? So would that be translated differently for American traders?
Correct. That's why actually I minimize rather than using 10 is to use 3 because of the leverage.
Oh, okay. So so like if she was in America, she would be putting like
maximum 10%. Correct.
Okay, so she was putting like 10 on each one?
3% was the maximum allowed for traders who live outside of the U.S.
So is that 3% per position, or is that 3% per trade?
Per position.
So the first one, position 1 will be 3%.
Oh, no, sorry, I beg your pardon. Per trade.
Per trade. Okay, so that's the same with M2. I think for us here in Australia would be 4% maximum per trade, not per position, right?
Not per position, per trade.
Okay, so it's also the same in the US. It will be 10% per trade, not per position.
Per trade.
Okay.
I believe I laid it out.
So I was confused. I thought if you had, let's say you had $100 and you said 10%, that would mean $10 is the most you could have at risk at any one time. But you're saying if you had 3 trades going at one time, you could have 10, 10, and 10 So you could have 30% of your account out there?
Just per trade.
Wow. I thought it was 10% distributed across. Let's say you had 3 trades open, it would be 10% across 3 of them, so 3% on each trade, totaling 10 or less.
Yeah, you guys need to be careful though, because if you have 2 trades going the same, so say for example, you have Euro US dollar you're going long, and then you have the pound against the US dollar going long. One of them, if the dollar basically drops, both of them will drop, right? So yeah, you just have to be aware on which pair that you're adding it onto.
Right. So what you're saying is if I had 10 trades going, I could have 10% on each trade, so effectively I could have my entire account in play at one time.
Yeah. Do you guys ever use the trading checklist?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just
well, that wouldn't work. If you have 10 trades and using 10%, it won't be 100%. So because the calculation, position size calculator is based on the stops and the entries and how much you're willing to risk. So if the maximum is say let's say 10,000 is 1,000, and you're willing to risk $1,000, that $1,000 will be calculated based on the position size. So it also depends on how far your stop, how close your stop. The closer your stop is going to be, then the more position size you're going to have. So if you're more position size you're going to have, then the more profits you're going to make. Right? So everything is all relative. All the calculations on the trading checklist, they're all calculated based on relativity on the risk and the probability of the trade. Mainly the risk between the entry and the stop. Okay. All right, but maximum 10% for US. I increased actually for non-US to 4% just to make it a little bit more fair. It's just okay, actually 4%. All right. So we'll wrap it up, and we've gone 7 minutes over time. We're going to go to the next class. So thank you very much, Vicky, and thanks a lot, Kaitlyn. So for the rest of you, I hope you learned something from this hour. I believe there's quite a lot there that that we constantly talk all the time, and based from what I got is if you don't practice, you don't get none, right? So you make sure to keep practicing. Don't get too greedy, emotionality, be confident, using your intuition. Always go through the direction. You can trade against the direction, but your probability will go against it. Consolidation, get out. So there's definitely a lot in there in terms of today. So any further issues or challenges before before wrapping it up? None. Okay, guys. So for the next class, we'll just take a 2-minute break. So we'll come back at 12:10, and then we're gonna wrap up and finish it off for those who didn't attend this morning. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.